Hey, hello everyone. I'm Lauren Hubele, and I'm here with my favorite astrologer, Jyoti Wind, who happens to have a birthday tomorrow. Jyoti, my fellow Aquarian.
Yes, thank you, Lauren.
Yeah, so
Yes,
Jyoti, you're here not only for us to celebrate your birthday, but we have two major aspects happening.
yes, yes. The full moon, which is today, and Mars turning direct on February 23rd.
Okay, so Jyoti, this it's interesting that this full moon coming right before your big day too. Do you feel that impacting you?
Yes, yes, I do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so tell us about this full moon.
So the full moon, during a full moon, the sun and moon are opposite, and they're both squaring the planet Uranus by 1 degree, very close in. And so not only is there a polarity that gets created sometimes with the full moon because the sun and moon are opposite, meaning that sometimes people can feel, well, I'm over here and everybody else is over there. So a full moon is always a good time to inquire, well, what do you think? How are you seeing things? Not to assume that people are opposite you. And the full moon in Aquarius Leo usually carries a that wanting to balance that energy of freedom and individuality with community
Yeah.
in a sense, and leadership. Aquarians feel everybody's equal, and Leo feels like there's a hierarchical order of leadership and grades of progression toward whatever goal you have. And so there's always that polarity. And then the square to the planet Uranus, which is the ruler of Aquarius, suggests that maybe things aren't exactly how we think they are, in true Aquarian fashion.
Right,
Yes,
right.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Jyoti, that just reminds me that yesterday there was the aspect of a Uranus aspect, wasn't there, of expecting the
Square.
square.
Yeah, it was actually, yes, it was yesterday, and it was the exact square of the sun square the planet Uranus. So yesterday might have been a day of really, like I coined the term, kind of expect the unexpected.
Yeah,
I use that term.
sure.
And so yesterday might have had some unexpected pieces to it. And this full moon carries that through the next
Yeah.
moon cycle. And it also, because the planet Uranus is that planet of change and hearing the beat of a different drummer, so it also kind of pushes us to look at what is that beat of a different drummer saying to us right now?
Hmm.
What does it want us to follow or change up in our lives that is kind of humdrum, or we're treading water, or, we're looking for the next big thing? What is it that if we stop and listen and we tune into what's happening, inside outside of us. It's
Yeah,
that sun moon opposition,
yeah.
inside outside. And if we stop and listen, what is the universe, what is life, what is the planet Uranus trying to tell us it's time for?
Oh, wow. Wow. And that coming at this sun and moon opposition with Leo and Aquarius, I mean, those are some pretty powerful energies.
Yes.
Uranus, Leo, and Aquarius. I mean,
Yeah.
they're all strong in their own way. I'm trying to get a feeling of how they might work together in this. Like, what is that soup that they make together today that we might feel?
Okay. It's a fixed soup
Yeah,
because these are fixed planets, and so it's creating this T cross of sun opposite moon squaring the planet Uranus. And so you know, it's kind of, like you could say almost twofold. It's asking us to loosen where we are. And in a
Mm.
sense, it's also asking us to fix something in place that will benefit us if we keep hearing that beat of a different drummer, if we keep open to that. And I just want to say, Lauren, that if I'm using the asteroids, here I'm just using the planets, but if I'm using the asteroids, then Juno, the asteroid of relationship, shows up in Scorpio only 1 or 2 degrees, completing this T-cross into a grand square.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
and so that brings in the notion or the energy of relationship. How are we hearing the beat of a different drummer, but how are we also taking what we're hearing and challenging sometimes existing relationships so that they can be more of what they can be?
Hmm. I got the sense of kind of like poking them, right? Like,
Yeah.
can we take that a little bit further? Just or nudging them along.
Yes, yes. And and for some people who might have planets, around 23, 24 degrees of the fixed signs, then they're in it. They're in that soup. They're swimming around in that pot,
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, uh, there's an old expression about being cooked, about being, matured in yourself, or the inauthenticities being sloughed off so that you can be more authentic with yourself. And in this case, and in your relationships. But just staying with the planetary energies, this is a very powerful full moon. It's challenging us to change, to choose other things. And it also says that your past is easier to shed than maybe at other times. And that how can you harness this energy of change so that it works for you,
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
that you don't feel like you're at the mercy of it?
Yeah, and I can imagine how those two things go together because we can't take that energy forward unless we've let go of the weight of our past.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's a real challenge for change on a larger scale, because this is not just for the US or,
Sure.
any one country. So globally, this can trigger more earthquakes and earth changes, like the tectonic plates coming up against each
Sure.
other in Santorini. And it can just trigger more global activity,
Hmm.
especially earthwise.
Hmm. Hmm. And so those of us that are trying to tune into this and be aware, we might have felt something a couple days coming into the full moon and then still afterwards, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah, at least, let's say, a week. And all last week, the planet Uranus was stationing to go direct. So we've been in this unsettledness, let's say, this unsettledness for at least um, 2 weeks, week
Okay.
and a half, 2 weeks, a bit of unsettledness, and maybe feeling our tectonic plates shifting a little bit.
Ah, yeah. Oh, that's a really good image, and I think folks now could look back on the week too. That's always a nice thing I find to be able to do is go, oh yeah, and put some meaning to something I might have felt a few days prior. But that makes a lot of sense. And certainly the world around us, those things are shifting by the day, right?
Yes, hourly sometimes. Yes, but it's also really deeply personal. It's that as above, so below kind of
Right.
thing. Yeah, and so it's asking us to look at. What are the changes we want to have in place to go forward, and what do we need to let go of? Pluto is trine Jupiter. Early days, it's moving closer, but Jupiter will be moving quicker away also. So Pluto is trine Jupiter, and Pluto is conjunct Pallas, the asteroid of intelligence. So what's moving kind of underneath everything is this idea of, quote, the power of ideas to transform consciousness. That's Pluto and Pallas together. So you might say something to someone, and all of a sudden they come back a week later and they go, you know that story you told me, or that thing you said? I thought about it all week, and it really changed my perspective.
Yeah.
So it's that noticing the ideas that are floating around, because one of them might be for you and might give you a kind of different perspective on what's happening or where you're heading, things like that.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot to work with in these days.
There's a lot to work with, and there's a lot of energy pro working. I mean, Mars is trine Saturn, and this gives you the ability to harness energy to make things happen. And Mars is still retrograde. It's retrograded from Leo back into Cancer. It's mid-Cancer right now. It's going to start stationing soon in order to go direct, which takes us into the next aspect, which
Okay.
is Mars going direct at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, February 23rd. So it's been retrograde for months, and now it is turning direct. Mars is our physical plane activity. It's the planet of birth. It's the planet of our bodies, in a sense. It's the planet of our physical activity. It's the planet of what is the dream? How do you manifest the dream? And it'll catch up from its retrograde motion. I think it's May 2nd. So we have a ways to go yet before we're out of this Mars cycle. But when Mars goes direct, I would think most people will feel it, and most people might even feel it a couple days ahead of time, where all of a sudden everything that's been held at bay, and you wonder, like, how come I can't make this happen? How come
Right.
this isn't moving? All of a sudden, it may take sometimes, a week maybe to get things rolling, because it's in a sense changing direction energetically. And so, but February 23rd is a real, I would think, demarcation line from the past few months to what's coming next.
Right. And so what we might begin to feel even already is things lining up to get moving.
Yeah, kind of like a sensing,
Yeah.
or maybe even, oh yeah, I was thinking about doing something like that a month or two ago, and then it kind of went away, and now it's back again, and I really do want to do that. I really do want to set that in motion. So,
Mhm.
how do I get behind it and begin to put my ducks in a row so that when this occurs, you're ready?
Jyoti, are there particular projects that get their energy specifically from Mars, like, I don't know, publishing or um, new endeavors or starting a business, or what might we look towards?
Um, I think it's not so much the type of something as much as it is the energy to do it.
Okay.
The energy to get something off the ground, to make something happen. It's like Mars is the manifester. I always wondered why, Mars was the planet of birth. I would think it would be Venus because it's women giving birth. But Mars is the manifestation. Mars is the
Mhm.
manifester. Mars brings things to birth. Mars gets things started and we manifest something through its energies. I mean, Mars in and of itself rules cars and engines and knives and guns. And, I mean, it's a real, it's the warrior. It's the
Mhm.
young male warrior, Mars ruling Aries. Okay, so when we think of Aries, we can think of, somebody who rushes headlong into something and then
Sure.
goes, wow, now what? Now what do I do? And so Mars has that energy sometimes of just going, okay, let's go. It's time. No reason to sit and think about it. Let's get this show on the road.
Mhm. So looking at these two aspects, this full moon in Aquarius opposing Leo and Mars going direct, it feels like, okay, we've got this time right now to be introspective and to think and consider what are those things that are important to us. What
Yes,
steps do we want to take? And then along comes the energy to do it.
absolutely. And also not so much what we might want to set in motion, what's upon us that changes what we might have chosen before. And now it's like, no, I want to do it differently. Or I'm, getting this intuition, or I'm getting this energetic that says, can't do it the same way. And what I had planned before Mars went retrograde maybe carries it, but maybe it's going to look pretty differently.
And that looking differently comes with the help of Uranus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, if we didn't have the planet Uranus, in a sense, giving these planets meaning in our personal lives, we wouldn't change. It
Right.
would always be the same. Day in, day out, it would all, year after year, lifetime after lifetime, it would always be the same without this opportunity that change brings us to grow and shift our perspective and do things differently and throw off the shackles of belief systems and get ready for what's innovative and what's right on the edge of our consciousness or on the edge of the universe that wants to come in and needs us to see it, to fulfill it,
Mhm.
to live it.
Mhm. Mhm. Jyoti, thank you. This is really interesting. I think there will be folks that will want to listen to this a second time, no doubt.
It's a very powerful time. I mean, we've had powerful times all through 2024. We will have some more during 2025. And this is kind of like the beginning thrust. This full moon today is like the beginning thrust of changes that will show up and actions that want to be taken at this Mars direct as we get ready to go into March with two eclipses.
Yeah, yeah. Great. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think that's enough.
Okay. Okay. Jyoti, thank you very much.
You're welcome, Lauren. Thank you.